1.02 Getting to Know the Text is your next lesson in your informative text unit. Let's look at the lesson and the objectives. In this lesson, you will use strategies to complete a guided reading of an article. A guided reading is when you have a teacher or a graphic organizer or something that is causing you to stop at different points throughout the reading to ask questions. Okay, so in this case, we have a graphic organizer that you can see on the right that you need to download before you start this assignment in Buzz. Next objective, use word strategies to make meaning of unknown words. So what that means is context clues. That should sound familiar to you because you've been practicing with context clues since you started reading. Remember that a context clue is when you try to figure out what the meaning of the word is based by the words around that word. So the sentence and what the sentence is telling you, you should be able to glean what the definition of the word that you might not know is. And then last but not least, complete the Getting to Know You graphic organizer as you move through the lesson. Again, you will need to download that attachment, and you can see a little picture of it off to the right of what it looks like. You'll have questions on the left side, and then you can type directly into the graphic organizer on the right. And you will be turning this in, so make sure that you get it downloaded from Buzz. Next, let's look at a little bit more from 1.02. Okay, here we go. This is a guided reading, meaning you will use the graphic organizer to answer questions after you read each chunk of the article. This helps you solidify your understanding of the material you are reading. Be sure to read the entire article. Now keep in mind that they give the article to you in chunks, and in those chunks you'll read on the screen, and then there are little dots at the bottom of the screen. You need to make sure you move through each one of those dots, okay, so that you get each chunk totally completed. You will be turning in the graphic organizer, and you can use it on your test. So it does highlight what effective readers of nonfiction do, and I really wanted to point that out to you again. Effective readers of nonfiction look at the title, ask questions, examine examples, review images such as charts, maps, and diagrams, relate to ideas, interact with the text, and use word strategies. Okay, so a lot of that, and we're going to cover this in this assignment and some assignments to come. Think text features. Okay, remember that you need to make sure that as a reader you are looking at everything on the page. There is never a mistake for something to have been added to the text that you're reading. There is a purpose for everything. So the title can give you information that you need. Charts and graphs out to the side could give you information that you need. If you're confused about something, you can write questions in the margin, or you can jot them down in your notes. But that's what great readers do. They take in all the information that is given to them, including those little things that some of us might want to skip sometimes. Now, in relation to figuring out what vocabulary words mean, effective readers use the following word strategies to make sense of unfamiliar words. Activate what they already know, relate new words to old situations. So if I had a new word and I was trying to make a connection in my head, like I might try to think of another situation in my life where I could use that word. Say the word was discombobulated. Okay, if I came across that word, that's like a 50-cent word, right? Discombobulated. Basically all it means is that confusion. I was discombobulated when 12 dogs ran at me at the same time at the dog park. Okay, it's like, mass confusion, right? So I can put that word together with confusion, make that synonym connection in my head, and then think of a time in my life when I may have been discombobulated. All right. They also talk through a possible meaning. And sometimes when you talk to yourself out loud, it sort of cements your learning a little bit more. Your brain really likes to hear that, especially those of you that are auditory learners. And then they check to see if it makes sense. So you're going to talk through that meaning. If you saw a sentence that said, Amy was discombobulated when she was working in the candy factory and the candy came down the conveyor belt way too fast. Okay? All of a sudden, it's like, okay, how could what does that mean? The candy's coming too fast down the conveyor belt and she's discombobulated. So you'll start thinking about what you might think that meaning of the word is, and then make sure you go check on your online dictionaries to make sure you're correct. Okay? The concepts that will be covered in 1.02 are main idea and context clues. Now, main idea is the main idea of a piece of text that you are reading. Okay? It's the whole point, what the author wants to get across to you. And then context clues, as I said, that is trying to figure out what the word that you don't know means from the rest of the words in the sentence. Okay? Now, for your assessment, you will turn in the Getting to Know You graphic organizer, or excuse me, Getting to Know the Text graphic organizer, and then you will take the quiz. All right? Please let me know if you have any questions.